Next time I'll get it right, but for now I'll stay right here where I belong.
You have an amazing opportunity, young generation, to rise above and be proud of the choices you're making and get out of a codependent culture and be responsible for you and work harder in your life than anyone else ever will.
What do you want? What do you want out of your life? Where do you want to go? If no one else will fight, I'll be the one. I'll be the one to step into their world. I'll be the one to walk with them.
And I mean it more than you'll ever know.
Some people will ghost you. Well, then maybe they're not real friends. At some point in time in your life, you are going to have to come face to face with yourself.
Next time I'm getting it right. Will you believe me if I say this is the last time?
And then she points at me and she goes, there's greatness inside of you. Sometimes we need people to believe things for us until we can believe it for ourselves. Because I look at what I'm doing now and it's not lining up with what they said I couldn't do. And now I'm doing everything that people said I couldn't do. Because now I travel the world and I share my story.
Next time I'll get it right, but for now I'll stay right here where I belong.
And by the time I was 26, I was sitting in 30-day inpatient treatment for alcohol. My family wanted nothing to do with me, couldn't hold a job. I was codependent, all because I thought I could get away with it. I should probably have about 10 DUIs, I only have 2. My last one was June 24th, 2010. That was the DUI that changed my life.
For it to hurt more, to stay the same. When I get through this storm, I'll find it on my own. And I'll mean it more than you'll ever know.
And so I'm going to talk about connection and belonging. We're looking for a place to belong where someone can come out and say, hey, we want you here. I want you here. We want you around. We say we live in such a connected world. If that's the case, if we really say we're more connected, then why is everybody more depressed?
There's no dumb kid. There's no worthless kid. There's only kids that have been starved of love and have been wounded so badly they're just looking for a place to lay. We can't change the history, but we can help shape their future.
Next time I'm getting it right.
Take one thing that you want to focus on to overcome in your life. Take one thing at a time and walk through the process. The process is only a process if one stays in it. If you don't stay in the process, then it's no longer a process.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Peer Purpose podcast. Hope you enjoyed last week's episode. I'm actually really in a good place to dive into this. I really have been thinking about how I want to present this episode today. And so I've touched on this a few times during this podcast. I've talked about believing lies. But today I'm going to go in and actually bring you through a couple different scenarios with it. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how, when you're believing lies, the different paths that you can go down in your life. So I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios today. Okay. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this episode is I want you to discover, are you believing lies? I have seen people that believe lies. I've seen it in my own life years ago, but I've seen people that believe lies. If that is their foundation, I have seen people destroy themselves and destroy situations and destroy opportunities, and their circumstances have become a mess. And they have not great relationships in their life, or some of the good relationships that they had, they no longer do because of the lies that they believed. And I want you to step out tonight a little bit and I want you to ask yourself, what lies am I believing? Okay, there's many, I've given you many scenarios. One could be if someone betrayed your trust, that's how you now operate with everybody. And because you can't trust many people, what happens is you get to a place where that's how you treat everybody. And so that's the lie that you're living from. You say, I can't trust anybody. So now people that try to come into your life, even good people, here's the problem with believing lies. When you get a good person to come in your life, you will not recognize what you need in them for how they could help you along your journey. I've said many times, we have to have people walking with us because relationships are super important, right? And so we have to have people walking alongside of us. But what happens is if you're living from the lens of a lie, the good will actually be weird to you and you'll push it away as fast as you can. And you won't recognize the things that they have that you could probably use, okay? And so I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios. These are like hypothetical scenarios, but I'm going to give you a couple different, and actually the movie that I'm thinking about, and I wouldn't recommend going to watch this, but it's The Butterfly Effect. And it's with Ashton Kutcher, and it's what I'm using this analogy for is the simple fact that there's a couple decisions that was made in the movie, right? If you know the movie, what happens is I don't know if I can't exactly remember what he has, but he keeps having these flashbacks or things play out in his life. Like if he would have made this decision, his life would have went completely this way. And if he would have made this decision, his life would this way. Because he made this decision, his life would here. And because he made this decision, his life would here. People will end up, he wouldn't have met certain people, different things like that. And so that's the movie I think about when I come. But I want to give you a couple hypothetical. This isn't going to be like giving you points today. Like I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm like, okay, point 1, point 2. This is going to be more of breaking down and dissecting the foundation of living from a lie versus the foundation of living from truth, okay? And what happens in those moments. And so I'm going to give you 2 hypothetical situations today. So let's just start with, I want you to take a kid, whether boy, girl, you can pick it. And starts out, you grow up, right? You grow up in, let's say you start out in a 2-parent household, okay? We're going to use the same scenario for both. You grow up in a 2-parent household, okay? You come into this world. I talk to the kids in my group and I talk about going through your emotions. When you're a baby, you get to poop and pee and puke on people. And so what happens is when you grow up, you go from a 2-parent household. Maybe you have siblings, maybe you don't, whatever it is. Well, what happens is you start through the process of life, right? And then as you get older, let's say your parents teach you how to respect yourself. They teach you and they educate you about certain issues that you may be facing, depending if you're a boy or a girl, or certain issues, right? They keep you in the know about certain issues that are going on in our world, whether it be political, whether it be social, whatever it is, cultural, okay? Keeping you in the know, okay? And they educate you in when every phase of life that you go through, right, that you get to, you're prepared because your parents are educating you as you go. When you're a kid, they let you know kid stuff. But as you start getting older and you're exposed to more, parents start, let's say your parents educated you, okay? They told you about, no, this is what it should be like with this topic, and this is what it should be like with this topic. And as you get older, the more you grow into an adult, a young adult, you're educated. And even with it, when it comes to people and ethnicities and people groups, your parents let you in of, hey, everyone's different. So this culture's this and this culture's this. And they let you into that realm of, so when you go, like, this is a perspective that you got to see. And even maybe they teach you how to have conversations and handle conflict and just everything. And then as this person gets older, they get it ready to go into high school, and then they start becoming more of an individual. But because they have been shaped from a young age to be educated on certain issues and not just have absolutes given to them in their life, but they do know right from wrong. And right from wrong has been, this is right, this is wrong. And they're understanding and they respect people and different things like that. When they go off into college and real world, they're able to handle things, right? They're able to handle adversity because their parents have prepared them for that life isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and that people may have issues with you and you may have issues with people and how to navigate that. And they become a certain situation where, and maybe they get into a marriage and they meet someone that is amazing, right? And they're healthy. And because their parents taught them the same thing through that, right? And when they get, sure, there's going to be some things that we've learned in a family dynamic, because not some let me just disclaim this. There is every family, no matter who you are, has some type of dysfunction, right? Through the bloodline. It's happened. Even if you come from the most perfect family in the world, there is some type of dysfunction in your family, okay? So let's just disclaim that. But for the most part, let's just say your immediate family was healthy, your parents knew how to navigate their emotions, different things like that, and you got through. And because of that, you're able to handle things, right? You're able to deal with life on life's terms. You're able to understand what truth is in the moment. You're able not to believe certain lies because, like, no, that's not what I've been taught, right? Doesn't mean that your opinions won't change as you learn more. Doesn't mean that you won't expand your mind and just educating yourself in other things. But for the most part, you're going to know right from wrong. You're going to know that certain situations require certain things and other situations require other things, okay? Now let's go to the other scenario, okay? Let's say you grew up in a two-parent home and you come into this world and you get to puke and you get to pee, right? But maybe at 5 years old, mom or dad leaves. And all of a sudden, there goes that wound, that the void is there because mom or dad left. You know, if you're a girl, having a dad is a big thing. And if you're a boy, having a mom is a big thing. They're both big for each. I mean, if you're a girl, you need a mom. If you're a boy, you need a dad, right? But let's just say that happened. And so from a young age, you form a wound because dad or mom left, and there goes the abandonment, okay? And all of a sudden, as you go through now, what happens is you have a void in your heart and you think that everyone leaves, and so now you have trust issues. But it doesn't just stop there. What the lie does, it magnifies your lifestyle and it magnifies your perspective. And so you won't just say, I can't trust people and keep people away. You'll actually go searching for it in other things. Some of it may be another person. If you're a girl, you may try to go find a boy. If you're a boy, you may try to go find a girl, whatever it is, okay? You might confide in certain activities. Could be smoking, drinking, vaping, whatever it is. It could be anything. There's a lot more lists that I won't list on here. But that's what happens. And so you go through that. And then you get older. And let's just say even, okay, that happened, but you don't get educated on certain issues. Maybe mom and dad don't like talking to you about certain things because it's uncomfortable for them, or one or the other, right? And now all of a sudden, you don't have education in certain areas. And so you're going to formulate your belief from that on what people tell you, okay? Or what you experience. And so what happens within that, now all of a sudden, let's just say someone tells you, or you learn that this is what I have to do at this age when you're before that time. Now you've predicated the lie that this is what it is. And so what happens is you start going through this process, and now you can't trust people, so you're always going to attract people that you can't trust, right? And you have certain beliefs that certain things should be a certain way, but not everyone has those beliefs because they've been educated in a different way. So you go to the people that have those beliefs, and before you know it, you're in a crazy cycle of lies. And your foundation is super faulty, okay? And as you continue to go through life, you start building up these beliefs that your way is the right way. And so when anything else comes to you, you literally will not have a choice but to reject that thing, even if it is the truth, okay? Even if it is the truth on what it should be. And then maybe because you're living from the lie that you can't trust people, and maybe you've settled for the lie that, you know what, my life is never going to be what it is. You might be talented at something and doing it, but because you believe the lie, now you make a choice. And that choice ruins opportunities for you. And instead of maybe going on to that art school or even going to college, if that's what you choose to do, or going to play football or basketball or whatever it is, now, because you've bought in the foundation of the lie and that's how you're living, opportunities start fading for you. And what happens is when we have a desire to do something and it's in us to do it, when those things don't happen, we start settling for the counterfeit thing. Okay? And then you start going a different direction. And before you know it, you're getting further and further away from the foundation of truth, all because your foundation is not solid in what you should live by. Okay? And you continue to push that way. And then before you know it, things are starting to happen. And then before you know it, your circumstances become your reality. And by that time, you haven't had the tools to get out of it, to be able to shape. And now you have a super upbringing of, we yell in my house at each other. We belittle each other. We tear each other down. And so that's how you start operating in life. And as you go through and you get older, you start realizing, especially when you leave high school, whoa, not everyone grew up like I did. And before you know it, you start ending in places that you were trying to run from in the very beginning, because you said, I'll never do this and I'll never do that. Something called inner vows. We make inner vows with ourselves, and those are actually lies based off of what you've experienced in your life. And typically, I would love to see the percentage on this, but many people that make inner vows end up doing the same exact thing that they said they would never, ever do. Okay? But because of your foundation, what you do is you start building your life up based off of what you're getting, based off the circumstances that have been created for you, right? And so when problems come, you don't know how to handle them well. When pain comes, you stuff it further, okay? Many people, I run across many people that I work with, they are believing so many lies that they are living from that it's actually declining their lives. I'm just going to say it. For many years, I lived from certain lies that I thought it was okay to do certain things, and I thought that it was okay to do this, but realistically, I didn't know any better. No one ever taught me differently. My foundation was faulty. The lies that I was living from created a bigger mess in my world than I would ever know. And one day I wanted to come out of that mess, and it didn't happen the first, second time. It took me a couple tries because the mess was so great, because what I believed, you cannot change your behavior until you change your beliefs. When you change your beliefs, that's when you change your behavior. If you have a belief that is wrong, that is a lie, because there's truth and there's lies, y'all. You can get mad at me all you want for saying that, but that is the truth. There's a truth to live by and there's lies to live by. And sure, you could say, well, Bobby, that's your opinion. Yep, that is my opinion. But guess what? I've also experienced that prior years ago in my life, that there's a certain way to live that won't get you very far. And so you have to start looking at, what am I believing today? What lies am I believing that are actually driving my situation further away from my main goal? Here's the biggest thing you got to understand. You will not change anything in your life if you're not willing to change what you believe about it. Okay? If you always believe that people should do whatever you want them to do, no matter when you want them to do it, and no matter what it is that you want them to do, sorry, that is going to be your cycle in relationships. If you have a belief that I can do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, and whatever it is that I want to do when I want to do it, sorry, you are going to drive problems probably with the law to you. because you will continue to say, I can do what I want, and nothing will be able to stop that. The question that I ask you is this. Actually, it's more of a statement, but I do ask you this question. At what point in time do you start having to stop and say, am I pushing the limit too far? Am I too far thinking that this should be my way? Am I too far thinking that people should do what I want to do? Okay. But some of you are living from a lie. And there is no way to change. I have many kids come to me all the time. Bobby, how do you do this? How do you do that? I tell them, you got to change your belief. They don't like when I say that. It's too hard. Yeah, because you are literally building up neural pathways in your brain that put you in a position that when you are in a rut, it's like, think of it like this. It's like a truck that's driving down like a muddy road. You know what I'm saying? If it has four-wheel drive, it'll be in a better position, but maybe it doesn't. What you do is you continue driving down, and you sink deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's harder to get out of those, right? Have you ever drove down a road that had a bunch of dips and divots in it and tracks? It's a bumpy road. For the most part, unless that place washes away, you cannot change that terrain. It's going to stay the same, right? It's the same thing with your brain and the things you're creating and the pathways. You have went down that way so much that is now that is what you turn back to every single time. It's time to stop believing the lies, y'all. It's time to stop looking at what lies you are believing. If you don't want to change them, that's fine. That's on you. That's your choice. But I promise you it'll be painful in the end. Guys, I'm not here for my own benefit. I'm not here to tell you something because I get something out of it. I love what I do. I'm here to help. I'm here to tell you that I am telling you this stuff because I know where it takes you. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know where the road ends for you. I can't tell you that. That's going to be on your path. I've had friends where the road ends in death. I'm just going to say it. Because they believe lies. They believed lies that this type of lifestyle was going to get them to where they wanted to go. And I've had friends that this has ended in death for them. I was blessed enough to not have to go that far. But it easily could have. This is not something to play with, y'all. I'm here to tell you that, I heard something recently, actually it was on another podcast, and it was funny because I thought it was so true. And what the guy said, he said, my 21-year-old self wouldn't have listened to me right now. And he's like, I think that's actually the dumbest question ever. He goes, at that age, there could have been someone that was 2,000 years old, and I wouldn't have listened to them. Right? But he said this. It changes though. And you have to ask yourself your question, how much can you adopt humility and teachability? Because there are people that have went down a path that you are going down. The only difference is they know where it ends. You don't yet. And so the question I ask for you to look at some of this stuff, you have to adopt humility and teachability. Okay? I'm not sure the podcast, I'll put the link in the description on this, but it was really incredible how he said that, because I was like, man, I look back and I go, my 21-year-old self wouldn't listen to my 37-year-old self either right now. It's when I started adopting teachability and humility is when I was able to start listening. And because I lived years in lies, I had to re-correct my beliefs. And so the question that I ask is, What lens are you living from? What beliefs do you have that are shaping you away? And let me just give you the roadmap. You want a big indicator on how you know if you're believing a lie? Because if you're acting on certain things and it's going terribly for you, that's how you know you're believing a lie. You want to know how you believe in the truth? If you're acting on certain things and it's going great for you. Doesn't mean there won't be trials. There's always trials in life, no matter how great things are. Things could be going completely great, amazing. You could be exactly where you want to be, and there may be something that comes up that you're always going to have. But here's the thing, too. When you believe the truth and your foundation is set on truth and solid, you know how to navigate those problems. You know how to get through those problems. You know how to handle those problems so you don't make decisions that make them worse. I've been there, where I believed so many lies that when I had a bad situation happen, that was just a little bit, then something else would come. Because I didn't know how to handle situations in a good way, I'd make a bigger mess. I was tired of believing the lies. And some of you have to get tired of believing the lies if you want things to change, because then you have to change your beliefs about them. And when you change your beliefs, that's when you change your behavior. I'm not saying you have to believe and behave before you belong. But what I am saying is this: until you believe better, you won't behave better. And if you don't behave better, there is no way you will belong better. I love each and every one of you. I want to know where you're listening from. peerpurposepodcast@gmail.com. It's been a delight to have you here. We're going to do this together. I'm in this with you. I'm walking with you. There's so much gold inside of you that's going to help you walk the greatness outside of you. Want to be here for you. Hope things are going well. I'm cheering, I'm celebrating, and rooting for you. And I promise you, if you continue to walk forward, you will start seeing the results that you want to see. Keep climbing, and I'll see you next time.
Next time.